The story continues with the queen of the girl-only nation finally wanting to experience what the hype is all about. So with two captured wolves summoned before her, she tasked them to give her the utmost royal experience or else face dire punishment. Meanwhile, the elite Crimson Foxes continue their ongoing mission to retrieve Prince Behemoth, but Mira starts to learn some secrets. It's revealed that Ra, the strongest swordsman on the planet, wants to install the Prince Behemoth as the rightful king of the wolves. Our Comey lookalike also adds on that she plans to become queen as she's preparing to challenge the queen for the throne. Now guys, don't complain about the art suddenly pulling a black clover often, since this is basically like those old anime. The only difference? Rice cakes. Anyways, back at the palace, two wolves are still busy entertaining the queen, and if at any point they accidentally explode the tree and it's game over. Garam then sits there, starting to really figure out why the girls love the rice cake extraction missions. So she decides to level up a wolf, allowing a lowly rank to enter the premises of the queen, as if he's cosplaying a battering ram entering the gates of the kingdom. And enter he goes, finally letting Garam's cherry tree blossom to fully mature, as it's the first time the queen gets to witness and experience such a thing. But then one of the boys looks like he's in trouble, as he knows his life is in danger if he fails to hold his banana plantation seeds from exploding. And within just a few seconds, his worst fears have come to fruition, as he was not able to fully control the banana tree. After a brief sage-like encounter, he knew he was screwed, so he began begging for mercy before the queen. She then opened her mouth, muttering to the Black Thorn guards to remove the scoundrel, as he only had one simple job. In an instant, the Black Thorn appeared behind him, quickly closing the gap to dispose of the dirty wolf. Unfortunately, he better learn to fly soon, as the queen orders for the wolf boy to be thrown off the cliff. Afterwards, the queen diverted her attention back to the other wolf, but somehow this guy is still able to be exactly like the Rock, when in reality, he should be more like mashed potato. Regardless, she threatens him to make sure to do a good job or else face the same consequence of his old friend. And so he continues with his life on the line, trying to channel his utmost inner farmer to make sure his banana tree plantation does not accidentally leak. In the end, the queen actually stops being a savage, as she lets the wolf actually rest and even lets him explode like lava cake. But there is a catch, as she orders him to make sure the banana tree grows in exactly 5 minutes, as she's busy thinking she needs the Prince Behemoth experience now. She then claims that Ra will never ever achieve her dreams, as she's never even been with a man before, so how can she handle the herring experience? Nevertheless, Ra discovers from Mira that almost everyone actually expects Ra to become the next queen, since it's pretty obvious from how she's the strongest on the planet. But Mira wants to know her plan on how she's going to install Herring as the next king of the wolves, since the current king is an absolute menace to both societies. We then learn that Buxabaram is so strong that he's been king for 15 whole years due to him easily dismantling his opponents. The only person that comes even close nowadays is Karim, but even the legendary swordsman took years until the king acknowledged him. As such, Mira comes to the conclusion that she's deluded only because her heart started beating at the sight of such a behemoth of a prince. But our white vampire refuses to reply, keeping that stone-cold face, as if she looks like she's hiding the fact she needs to go to the bathroom. Nonetheless, one of the elite Crimson Foxes interrupt the two, as she spots the Garimbi elite from afar. At the same time, the Garimbi elite are overjoyed at finally finding the sacred mushrooms needed for the mission. As Wong begins to collect some of the blue columbines, he starts lecturing Herring about the role of the most elite squad in the Wolves Nation. He also explains that these flowers have an intense fragrance that only the higher class are allowed to use, so it's in very high demand. Unfortunately, the flowers only grow in enemy territory, so the only way to procure them is to send the elite special forces in, as no normies can handle the job. As they run out of flowers to collect in the area, the two roommates look on as they find themselves looking at a historical gorge. The place is named Jurujam, an area typically looking like a place you encounter the Demon King or Demon Queen in anime for the first time. Wong then tells the old tale of the Valley of Hell, where it's apparently connected to a fire giant's footprint. However, Wong reveals information about the fog encompassing the area, warning him to not expose himself too long or else risk losing his entire mind. So he reminds Herring to not wander endlessly, or else he will never get to go back home to play Minecraft and Roblox ever again. Unfortunately, the entire squad has to venture deep into the valley, as the further you go, the better quality of columbines will be found. As such, Wong throws a mask over to Herring, exactly what you will need when you enter the bathroom right after me. Anyways, the rest of the group catch up, where Maru excitedly yells that it's time for the group to get rich, as the reward for the mission is the highest ever. Pork Bun Lover jumps in the fray as well, threatening Herring that if he even slows them down, they'll just throw him to the pack of foxes behind them. He also finally opens his eyes, telling Herring to stop replying formally and to stop holding back. And so he drops all formalities as Herring yells how much he likes plump people like Eden, especially with his half-closed eyes all the time. He continues insulting him as he smiles, telling him to rub his belly more often, since bro's only like 18, but he's already rocking a dad bod just like my boy, Luka Doncic. Afterwards, after putting Eden in his place, he turns to the other two, asking if they also want him to let it rip, just like my Beyblades, but they instantly nope out. Nevertheless, the group continues on forward as they leave the captain Karim behind as he's too busy eating chicken from Jollibee. But Herring does not want to leave the captain on his own, but Maru tells him it's fine, since he's overpowered. Maru then tells him to not worry about him as he can handle himself, plus, if the group ever gets in trouble, he'll always show up, just like when he got captured. Suddenly, as if it's like a bad omen smoke, they realize they are getting flanked already, as the fog leaves them wide open. Wong then confirms the arrival, as he listens in closely, able to hear the sounds of furious women running straight towards Prince Behemoth. The trees behind them begin to topple as if the girls heard there's a 50% off sale at Lululemon, ready to seize and grab their target. Sussy Wong then enters his battle stance fully flustered, as he starts talking about how he missed seeing girls in person. Then, out of nowhere, Mira comes slashing through the bushes, as if she's watched some bleacher runs. As Herring blinks, Mira has already struck right at Wong, but he's able to stand his ground while our boy yells in the background. Wong then attempts to compliment Mira, but unfortunately for him, Mira ain't into guys, so that's some tough luck, buddy. Shortly after, Miss Alita Angel comes bursting through, moving faster than I can fart, swiftly cutting through the air. She then goes straight for Herring, but our author knows what he's doing with some of these angles, as if he's mastered the art of cake trigonometry. While still levitating from the ground, she combos straight into an uppercut, but Herring is able to dodge with ease. This confuses Alita, as she instead accidentally allowed Herring to have a free sample of her armpit scent, since his dodges are literally accurate to the millimeter. But the girls don't stop there, as more and more from the elite squad begin to flood in, although they start to compliment his battle prowess from every single dodge. Herring is even able to dodge a combo attack from two simultaneous directions, but he's still unable to draw his sword due to pressure from every single direction. With no ability to counterattack yet, he finds himself with his back turned to a cliff, as his situation has started to become a little bit sticky. But then, out of the corner of his eye, he spots the girl that every man wants, the one and only blue-haired Kristen Stewart. The girls then stop attacking as someone yells out for the nude to grab his sword and use it to protect his face. Arrows then begin to pelt him from afar, but he's able to successfully deflect and stop them with his sword, thanks to the person warning him. The black serang then appears from atop the trees, yelling at Herring that more rounds are coming, but this time, they are aiming at his leg. However, he's unable to react in time as one of the arrows actually penetrate through his non-existent armor. After smelling my fart, he accidentally falls backwards down a cliff, as he has trouble balancing himself with an injured leg. Herring then closes his eyes as he falls, as his life begins to flash before him, wishing he at least had another rice cake smashing before his demise. But then, as Speedy Gonzalez appears as a flash of lightning begins to ping-pong left and right down the hill. It turns out to be the Black Serang again, as he's now basically tasked to be the babysitter of our golden boy. To save Herring, he had to leave behind the boys battling for their lives as Karim orders him to go after Herring. Although initially stopped in his tracks by Ara, Karim steps in to duel her, allowing the Black Serang the chance to save Herring. Karim then instantly demands Ara to explain why he chose a dweeb over his Sigma male status, since he's still unable to get over it. So she mentions that she's going to become queen, not exactly explaining her reasons why until she asks about what he wants in the future. Karim then claims that he also wants to be king, but she retorts that if he indeed became king, he'll be exactly like the rest of his predecessors, unlike Herring. As such, the simp overlord erupts in anger due to another rejection, yelling at her that he actually only wanted to siege her rice cake, since she's useless anyways. But Ara is not even slightly affected by his words, as she knows he's way too weak to handle her. Eventually, Karim charges forward, aiming straight for Ara's twin dragons, totally engulfed in jealousy and madness. And so the two begin to battle, as Ara is able to easily match all his attacks, as if she's just toying with the strongest male swordsman. Meanwhile, we discover that Herring has somehow survived the fall, even though the Black Serang is nowhere to be found. As he attempts to nurture his legs, some kind of entity appears beyond the fog as if it's some kind of monster. Herring finds himself surprised as he realizes that the entity is coming straight at him. As the entity closes the distance between the two, Herring freaks out as he's never seen something look like this in his entire life. Herring then remembers the rumors of Beneath the Depths, where people claim that an evil spirit exists at the bottom ready to devour his soul and body. Out of nowhere, Herring hears a sound telling him to stop looking at him like some kind of evil spirit, so he tries to wipe his eyes.